Human expectations. You think your dog understands you. They don't, not the way you think. When you explain why they can't have your sandwich, your dog doesn't process the reasoning. They see food, smell food, know you have food. The explanation is just noise with emotional texture. Dogs process the world through instinct, emotion, and association, not language, not logic. What actually registers, your tone carries emotion, your body language signals intent, your consistency creates prediction patterns, but the words, just sounds linked to outcomes through repetition. When your dog sits on command, they're not understanding the concept. They're running pattern recognition. This sound plus this context historically precedes a reward. Your dog isn't dumb. They're just not human. Love without understanding. You feed them, you walk them, you let them sleep on your bed. You think that's enough, it's not even close. Feeding, walking, and affection are maintenance. They keep a dog alive. But true care requires understanding their actual needs instead of projecting human ones. You think your dog wants freedom. They want structure. You think they want variety. They want routine. You think punishment teaches lessons. It teaches fear. Most people love their dogs deeply while misunderstanding almost everything about them. They hug when dogs need space. They surprise when dogs need predictability. They explain when dogs need consistency. The love is real. The understanding is absent. And dogs can't tell you the difference. They just become anxious or shut down, and you call it a behavior problem. Inconsistency. Your dog doesn't need you to be perfect. They need you to be predictable. When humans act inconsistently, changing rules, varying tone, randomizing timing, dogs experience chronic uncertainty. And unpredictable environments feel dangerous. Sometimes you let them on the couch. Sometimes you yell about it. Sometimes come means treats. Sometimes it means punishment for something they did 5 minutes ago. Your dog is trying to find patterns in chaos, studying your behavior desperately, looking for rules that never appear. Most owners think they're being reasonable, flexible based on context, but dogs don't process context. They process patterns. When patterns don't exist, anxiety fills the gap. Yelling. That raised voice isn't teaching anything except fear of you. When you yell, their cortisol spikes, fight or flight activates, and learning shuts down. Stressed brains can't process new information. They can only react to threats. Here's what's worse. Dogs don't connect yelling to behavior unless it happens within 2 seconds. That garbage they destroyed 3 hours ago, they have no idea why you're screaming. The association they're building isn't "don't tear up garbage." Its human presence sometimes means terror for unknown reasons. Your dog stops the behavior because they're afraid of you, not because they understand. And fear-based relationships create anxious, reactive dogs who never fully trust you. Every yell is a withdrawal from the trust account. Eventually, it runs empty. Rough handling. You think you're just moving your dog out of the way. They think they're being attacked. Pulling the leash hard, yanking them off furniture, grabbing their collar suddenly. These feel minor to you. To a dog, they're aggression from the most important being in their life. Dogs interpret sudden physical force as threat behavior, regardless of your intent. Here's what you're not seeing. The micro-flinch when you reach toward them. The tension when you approach while they're resting. The avoidance when you're in certain moods. These are dogs learning that your hands sometimes mean fear. Impact matters more than intent. Your dog doesn't care that you didn't mean it. They're building a map of safe versus unsafe interactions, and you're adding danger markers without realizing it. Ignored signals. Your dog is talking to you constantly. You're just not listening. Whale eye means stress. Lip licking means anxiety. Yawning when not tired means discomfort. Turning away means I need space. Freezing means I'm overwhelmed. Dogs send these signals before escalating to growling or snapping. They're communicating discomfort early, hoping you'll notice. When you ignore these signals repeatedly, dogs learn subtle communication doesn't work, so they escalate. That sudden aggression wasn't sudden. Your dog asked you to stop 15 different ways before resorting to teeth. You missed every signal. When dogs communicate and get ignored, they experience learned helplessness. They stop trying. You think your dog is fine because they're not growling. They've actually given up communicating with you. Misinterpreted behavior. You call it stubbornness. It's actually fear, pain, or confusion. When your dog won't come when called, refuses to enter a room, or stops obeying known commands, most owners see disobedience. It's almost never defiance. Dogs don't have human ego or rebellion. That stubborn refusal to walk might be joint pain. The selective hearing might be hearing loss. The spiteful house training regression might be a urinary infection. The aggressive food guarding might be resource insecurity. When you punish behavior rooted in fear or pain, you're punishing a dog for having a problem they can't articulate. The behavior suppresses through fear, but the cause intensifies. Most behavior problems are communication problems. Your dog is telling you something is wrong. You're punishing them for speaking up. Punishment. Almost nothing you think works actually works. You're just creating fear that looks like compliance. Punishment suppresses behavior through fear of consequences. The dog stops because they're afraid, not because they understand. What actually changes behavior? Calm tone, clear cues, reward-based learning, and respected boundaries. A fear-trained dog obeys when you're watching and falls apart when you're not. A reward-trained dog internalizes the behavior because it's linked to positive outcomes. Most owners mix both methods randomly, the worst outcome. Sometimes punished, sometimes rewarded, sometimes ignored. The dog can't find a pattern, so they live in constant anxiety about which version of you they're getting. Vulnerable moments. How you behave when your dog is sleeping, scared, eating, or resting defines whether they trust you at all. These are moments of maximum defenselessness. Waking them suddenly teaches sleep near you is dangerous. Laughing at their fear teaches you're not safe during distress. Taking their food teaches you're a resource threat. Dogs remember vulnerability plus negative experience with disproportionate clarity. One scary incident during sleep can create months of anxiety. Trust looks like this. A dog who sleeps deeply near you because they know you won't startle them. A dog who comes to you when scared because you've consistently provided comfort. A dog who eats calmly because you've never threatened their resources. Most owners violate these moments casually without understanding they're destroying the foundation. Senior dog neglect. You're punishing your old dog for aging. They can't tell you that's what's happening. Their hearing fades, their vision blurs, their joints hurt. Their memory becomes unreliable. These aren't behavior problems, they're medical realities. But owners yell at a deaf dog for not coming. Punish a dog with arthritis for not jumping in the car. Get frustrated with a cognitively declining dog who forgets house training. That senior dog who snaps when touched? They didn't hear you approach. That old dog with accidents? Their bladder is failing, not their training. That dog refusing walks? Movement hurts. Senior dogs need patience, adaptation, and comfort. Instead, the last years of their life become anxious confusion about why their person is suddenly angry all the time. The question: your dog doesn't need a perfect owner. They need someone who tries to understand their world instead of forcing them into yours. The question isn't whether you love your dog. It's whether you love them enough to learn their language instead of demanding they learn yours.